Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss top 10 real-time transportation visibility platforms in 2025. Let's dive right in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
My name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent, vendor agnostic technology advisory firm. We help our clients with system selection, change management, digital transformation strategy. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is top 10 real-time transportation visibility platforms in 2025. We have published many different lists and quadrants on this topic. If you have not checked those, you might want to review those to be able to understand how real-time transportation visibility platforms differ from the other platform. For the most part, this is very logistics-centric perspective as compared to the complete supply chain suite or the platforms or the visibility platforms from the supply chain perspective. So this perspective is focused on areas and the logistics processes. So it's slightly different. Overall, when you compare these platforms, one of the overarching theme that you're going to find is some platforms only cover, let's say, just one mode or a couple of modes. So they're planning the data that you are going to get is going to be slightly biased. It's not going to be as accurate. It's also going to be limited in a specific geo just because they might not have agreements with those geographies. There might be geopolitical issues. And because of that, they might not have access to that data. But depending upon the purpose, sometimes, let's say, if you're only looking for trucking based planning, if you need that data, then those systems could be a great fit. But if you're looking for complete suite, then you need to look at different platforms. The criteria we have used to compile this list is product share, acquisition strategy, focused on real time transportation visibility platform, the product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy, as well as the investors. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Trucker Tools. And overall, Trucker Tools is a very small solution. For the most part, this is meant for freight brokers to be able to provide insight into load visibility. Again, it's not going to be complete as such when you're looking for the complete suite across the modes. They are not going to have all of that. The strengths to keep in mind is they have a little bit of ELD integration, but again, those ELD integrations are not going to be as comprehensive as what you will find with the other platforms. This is very SMB friendly, it's not going to be as expensive, and the visibility is going to be slightly more detailed, even though it is a very small platform. So that's a huge plus. The limitations to keep in mind is does not cover the other modes of transportation. So, for example, when you need insights into your air, ocean, etc., this is going to be limited. The UI is not going to be as modern, and then the integration with TMS would require consulting help. So, this is where you are probably going to be spending a lot. The other platforms are going to have out of the box integration. You still need to vet those, you need to test whether they are going to work for your processes and data. But in this case, the integrations are not going to be out of the box at all. So that's where you are going to be spending a lot of money. So that's number 10. Number 9 on our list is IntelliTrans. And IntelliTrans is a very similar platform. The only difference is that they do cover, a lot more modes than what you will find with trucker tools. So strength is SMB friendly multimodal features, and then you will have some TMS integrated. Some limitations to keep in mind. It is limited to road, rail, and ocean. So even though they have three, but again, it's not as comprehensive as the other ones because they are going to cover a lot more as well as geographies. Not necessarily designed for large enterprises. So again, very SMB platform, and their ecosystem is B2B limited. Well, so that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is Global. And Bloom Global is slightly bigger. It is part of the Wise Tech group, which is a much bigger supply chain consulting company. So they are going to have a lot more budget overall. But then you are also going to have much tighter lock with Wise Tech as a company. They have multimodal feature. They have integrated, TMS. So those are some of these strengths. Limitations to keep in mind is ecosystem is limited for the most part. They are keeping this to be able to sell their supply services. So you are not going to find many consulting companies in the market that might be able to help you, and not as well adopted or funded as the other options, and not as comprehensive as other options on this list as well. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number. Number 7 on our list is Overhaul. And Overhaul is probably the enterprise grade option um, for companies that are looking for trade traceability and transparency, and they have much deeper insights from the risk side of things. They have risk GPT, capabilities integrated. So if you are looking for theft management or supply chain risk management centric capabilities from the international supply chain perspective, then Overhaul could be a great fit for that. So strengths, great transportation visibility tool, and then you are going to have things such as GSOC feed integrated along with visibility, and they have far deeper integration from the risk perspective, from the global capabilities perspective. So that's a huge plus. Some limitations to keep in mind is the communication errors between the carriers as well as the platform. So again, it's not as well coded, it's not as well done compared to the other platforms. So you might want to check the reviews of these platforms. This particular platform, even though it's very strong, but users have reported some issues with the platform from the technical perspective. The limited carrier base may require carriers to participate, and that's a huge issue in this particular space, especially if you're getting a platform where you're looking for great adoption among carriers. Some carriers might not be willing to do that. If they are already part of the network, it's much easier to sell that to them. In this case, you are going to have limited carrier base, so it's a much heavier lift from the adoption perspective. If they don't adopt, you might not be able to get the same insights that you might get with the other platforms. And again, the whole design is not as great. You might get a lot of data, but that might not be as meaningful compared to the other platforms, the way they have designed them. So that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is Trimble Transporion. And Transporion is the company that Trimble acquired. Now it's part of the Trimble suite. So this is much more comprehensive solution because now you are going to get integration with all of the platforms that Trimble had in its portfolio. So that's a huge plus for companies that are looking for slightly suite-centric capabilities, especially in industries such as your agriculture, construction, as well as logistics. That's where Trimble is really strong. The strengths to keep in mind is they have over 150,000 carriers. They are part of their network, integrates with over 3,000 different ERP and TMS systems. So that's a huge plus in terms of the amount of data that they are going to have. And then they also have the powerful maps as well as the telematics technology that was always part of the Trimble portfolio. So again, that's why they are very strong for companies that are going to have their own fleets, etc., as part of their business model. And then when we talk about the time slot and the retail time slot management, they are also going to be strong there. Some limitations to keep in mind is this is also mainly an European solution. So again, their perspective is going to be biased to the carriers in that region, they might not be as strong in the North America space, but now Trimble may have acquired some other companies or may have other capabilities to support the North American centric carriers. So collectively, it might be great, but again, it's not as comprehensive. And they have signed partnership with some other data vendors. For example, RUMB is one of them. So they rely on those vendors, and because of that, they are not going to have as much control on these networks as well as the data that they are providing. And again, not as comprehensive solution compared to the other ones on this list. So that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is ShipU. And ShipU is great for the road transportation visibility, but ShipU is a very Europe-centric platform as well. Some strengths to keep in mind: carbon emission tracking, the accurate truck positioning, as well as machine learning to calculate ETA. So those are some of these trends. Some limitations to keep in mind is network not as strong as the other platform. Their analysis is going to be biased, even though they are claiming that their machine learning capabilities will be able to calculate the ETA accurately. But again, when the underlying data is going to be limited or not going to be as complete, the forecasting based on that data is going to be slightly misleading as well. So that's where you need to pay attention to whether they have coverage for what you are looking for and whether the sample size is going to be enough or not. So do your due diligence and research in understanding their sample data set and how they have configured their AI algorithms as well. So that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Descartes Macro Point. And Descartes Macro Point is very international solution from the global freight visibility perspective. They have career capacity for very logistics as well as 3PL centric businesses. Some strengths to keep in mind is the ability to fine tune alerts. So, with the other platforms that we are reviewing, the smaller ones, they might not have as deep capabilities to be able to fine tune these alerts. So, it could be very annoying experience if you are looking for those capabilities, and that's what you're going to find with these platforms. They are going to be much richer in terms of their ability to be able to configure the alerts the way you like to see them. And then you would be able to track the driver's location accurately. And that's what the majority of the vendors claim. But their data set is much richer from the international perspective. So that's why they are going to be slightly better in accurately predicting that. They have global coverage, and again, their focus is more on the logistics centric business. So the right comparable here is probably going to be Trimble. Trimble does a lot of business in the logistics business as well, but Trimble is very domestic, North American centric capabilities. With Transporian now, they have the Europe centric capabilities. But again, they are not as international as what you are going to find with Descartes. Some limitations: expensive, career performance might not be as strong, and again, designed from the perspective of the logistics providers, so that's going to be a little negative, and that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is E2 Open, and E2 Open is a complete suite. So it's not just providing the logistics, but it's providing the overall supply chain suite capabilities as well. That could be plus or negative depending upon what you need. If you need slightly more siloed experience without getting all of those frills, then E2 Open might not. But let's say if you require tight collaboration, you require pre-baked integration with the complete suite, then E2 Open is probably a better fit. The strength to keep in mind is again complete suite, and it has combined channel as well as the carrier capabilities. So that's a huge plus. Richer data as well as analytics. When you look at this more from the AI perspective, in doing all of those AI and ML scenarios, in tracking the driver's location or tracking the entire supply chain, their analytics is going to be slightly accurate. But again, their sample size from the carrier perspective might not be as strong, from the transportation perspective might not be as strong. Some limitations to keep in mind is they have partnership with Shipio for the transportation visibility data. So you have a lot of collaboration happening in this space, just because everybody needs others' data. So they have some internal partnerships as well. So this point is primarily applicable for you if you want to understand the risk of these relationship. Tomorrow, if they lose this relationship, then it might be harder for them to be able to augment the same data. But then they can probably figure out some other relationships from the market, but they just don't have as much control on that data set compared to the companies that are going to own that network as well as the data set. It's expensive. It's not as SMB friendly. So that's another limitation that you have. And not the best fit for companies that are looking for slightly more standalone experience. So that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is 4Kites. And 4Kites is perhaps the best of breed platform from the real time transportation visibility perspective, especially for enterprise centric companies. Their strength is they have roughly 490,000 carriers, and now it might be more as part of their network, which is just huge compared to the other platforms, which just don't have as many. They claim that their ETAs are 6 times more accurate. So just because of the network, the data that they have, yes, their ETAs are going to be more accurate. How accurate are going to be, and whether they are going to be 6x or not, that is something that you need to research yourself. And then 98% of the global ocean traffic, so they are much stronger with ocean data. They have other data sets as well, but they were always very strong from the ocean perspective. And they also have 17,000 airports. They are providing them data as well, and roughly 1.5 million monthly parcel as well as the last mile load. So they have that data too. So again, it's a very comprehensive platform overall from the real-time visibility perspective. Some limitations to keep in mind is it's expensive, not as strong with the service parts. So if you're looking for traceability for those service parts as well, then this might not be the best fit. And integration, when you talk about the other TMS systems, that's where you might need to do due diligence whether the TMS system that you might be using at this point of time, whether they support that or not. So that's number 2. Number 1 on our list is Project 44. And Project 44 has very similar positioning as your 4Kites, but this is slightly more SMB friendly. Their pricing is going to be friendly as well. Their strengths is one of the biggest strength that they have is the carrier compliance guarantee that they are able to provide. And this is huge because carrier compliance is going to be a big hurdle for the adoption. And if carriers are not necessarily adopting, then you are not going to get end-to-end traceability. Your data might be biased as well. So they are providing that. That's a huge plus overall. Some other strengths to keep in mind: they have roughly over 230,000 carriers. They have 760 ELD providers in more than 48 countries. So again, very global data set. And they have roughly 4.33 million drivers that are participating as part of their program. They have 3.55 million trucks. They have 800,000 fleets, and they are also GDPR compliant. So those are some of the strengths. Some limitations to keep in mind is the learning curve might be steep. And again, this is for very small companies that don't necessarily have those technical skills to be able to upgrade on this platform, even though this is probably going to be one of the most cloud native platform that you're going to find in the market. But still, some users might feel that the learning curve is steep, and that's where you need to probably spend in a change management training centric capabilities. It's not an open platform. Some platforms may be open, but this is not an open platform. Requires carriers to agree on connecting. So that's some carriers might not like that. So those are going to be some of the limitations, and that's important. If you like the brief insights that we have provided as part of this video, then we are also going to have a detailed report that is going to have much deeper insights. So you might want to check that link. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. So you might want to hit the subscribe button on YouTube if you don't want to miss them. And then this podcast is also available in the audio form on major podcasting platform. So you might want to check there and subscribe if you like. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.